Hello everybody, welcome back to Downtime Activities, and welcome back to the Curian Empire, our Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition Epic 6 style campaign, and kind of a knockoff Roman Empire and the lands around it. This episode in particular, we had a really hard time starting the recording.
We had a really fun time not starting the recording.
Yeah.
We always have a really hard time going from we've hit record to we're now actually in the video. When last we left, you guys had traveled all the way up to Lorland, and were about to attempt to make the crossing over into Gailtram, the homeland of the Dwarves.
Also known as Upperland, I assume?
It's mostly just called Gailtram. It's Lorland, L-O-E-R, not L-O-W-E-R.
Not lower land and upper land.
I'm just
I
saying.
claim this place for the Curian Empire. I shall call it Lower Land.
And that place up there, we will
don't
call
talk
it
about that.
upper land.
And you guys were left with the sort of small problem, at least you were beginning to approach the small problem of the Wall of Maximus, which was built across this the halfway point of the island, essentially, to keep the dwarves from slaughtering every Curian soldier they can find.
Yep.
Not that it's necessarily stopped them.
It's not a bad idea, but I mean, it's not.
Not that effective.
Yeah.
So the plan is you sneak up there and open the gate and
Yeah.
we ride.
Can I see where the gate contraption
As
is?
you guys approach, it's definitely not a massive fortified wall in the sense of like the Great Wall of China. It is close to 30 feet high in most places, but it's very much like the parapets are only on, or like the battlements are only on one side. There isn't really much wooden hoarding. There is this kind of one road that heads north does reach a small fortress essentially that's built along this section of the wall. That seems to have a gate on both sides. You know there are probably other gates further along the wall in either direction. Whether or not those are fortified like this one is like hard to tell.
Okay.
And this is definitely where you see the most soldiers that you've seen. The wall may not be massive, but it is hung with a lot of both Curian banners and banners for the 16th Legion.
I wonder if we can make a distraction somewhere.
So you think that the only people that would pass through here are people that have like
soldiers.
business needing to get through?
There's not really. I don't think there is business between the wall that they condone.
There would be probably no business outside of this area.
Hell is this for? Is this?
This is
Just
Stop
to
the
keep
dwarf.
the people up north.
There are no currently like inhabited settlements north of the wall. There are some older settlements that have been abandoned, but there's no merchants heading north. There's maybe occasionally like delegates from one side or the other pass through, or if they needed to send a force north of the wall, that's what the gates are for. But they're not really.
We don't have any paperwork that we could be like, you just flash me like, I'm a delegate. I'm going back.
This is my local guide.
And this is my dog.
Who's fucking huge?
Excuse me.
Woof.
Bark.
Bjork.
Doesn't bark.
Is it a Swedish dog?
I'm quiet.
Bjork.
Okay. I wonder if there's like a way we can cause a distraction.
I mean, if we don't give a shit about our horses, we could just. I got a grappling hook and some rope. We could get up over this wall. Just wait for a gap in their, patrols on the wall side.
This side of the wall you could get up onto in any one of a dozen places. This side of the wall is not built for defense. So you'd be able to. You wouldn't necessarily need a grappling hook to get up onto the wall this side. Some of like those staircases and ladders and stuff might be guarded in some circumstances, or at least there would be patrols. But you don't need to climb.
Gatehouses are going to be more heavily guarded than an average chunk of wall near a ladder to get up.
Yeah. Well, then I guess we would just be better off like finding a stable in the town to house our horses. Because if we, Because
There are also villages and farms nearby and stuff.
How far is travel past this point?
At least to where you know that your clan was camped out last. On foot, it might be close to a week, depending on if you can route find well, it might cut that time down. Depending on the terrain you're gonna have to cross, it could be longer, and if they're not camped there, then you'd have to track them down. So.
But I guess we find a little village or a farm to house our horses, and we'll pay them well to keep quiet.
If we don't come back in 1 year's time, these horses are yours.
2 years.
2 years' time.
Let's give ourselves some,
God, we're gonna be here a year?
2 years? Jesus.
Just show back up a year and a half later to collect your horses.
Somebody's missing an arm. Somebody's got an eye patch now.
Somebody's missing. Yeah, I guess we can try and find a stable or house our horses long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if we can find a village then. Or farm. Because you said there was some nearby, right?
There are both small villages and farms nearby. Mostly halflings.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. A farm. What's closer? Like a farm to us, or is it just...
Probably a farm would be closer.
So let's go to the closest farm.
Okay.
And I'll go talk with the halfling that owns it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll walk up to...
They're like out working in the fields.
Okay, so I would say. So I'll be like, hello!
Greetings.
Just kind of an odd question for you. How can I phrase this here?
Travelers.
We're rebels wanted by the Empire. We're hoping you could...
We're
Help us with our crime.
we're travelers who are going on a bit of an excursion, and we don't necessarily have... We won't be able to have use for our horses. Is there any possible way we could stable them on your farm, and we'll pay you for the time?
Like the whole halfling family these are at least one, all three of your guys' horses at this point came from
The desert.
These are not small horses. One of them is obviously a fucking Arabian.
Yeah.
And it's just and it's kind of this these are halflings. They're less than 4 feet tall by and large, and these are not the small horses. They seem apprehensive, but the request is kind of if they would want to be paid for it, and if they're allowed to put one or two of the horses to work, they think it's
You can put this one to work.
Towards your poor long-suffering horse that's been carrying around a stone lion for months.
This horse could talk, man.
If horses could talk, this one would cuss me out.
I mean, you
You're
guys
gonna put
don't...
this one to work. Fuck!
You see,
He just starts stomping and kicking it around.
Always is this fucking Tertius guy.
Yeah.
Don't even give me a name.
I think we could... We're okay with that.
Okay.
And
They're gonna do. It's essentially gonna be 10 gold up front.
half now, half later kind of thing.
More or less.
I'm just out of courtesy and be like, if you can keep kind of hush about this, I'll hand They ain't making my math easier, so I'm gonna clear that now. I'll hand them 50 gold. Just be like, no mention on the travel.
They can't remember the face of the man who sold them these horses.
We don't even know who you is.
And,
But they got a screaming deal on these horses. -$50.
Yeah. And be like, we'll return as soon as we can, and we'll pay you the rest when we're back.
Okay. So watch your horses for it.
All right.
The kids, which are even tinier than regular halflings, seem to be kind of holy shit, wow, that thing's so fucking... I've never even seen a horse before, at
If
least
they
up
ride
close.
his horse, they're gonna be real fucking
They
surprised.
could build a house on his horse.
I'm gonna word him be like, Rapidash here is likes to run, so kind of be careful.
That horse is essentially a war elephant as far as these halflings are concerned. At least the children.
No. What if I'm
It is a great idea. It is a great idea.
You're like a hippo?
That's what's scary in a war elephant. Those things are fucking mean.
Little like box set up on the back of a war hippo. Some bayou halflings on the back of it.
So,
It'd be
see,
like an
yes,
alligator. Be like an alligator.
Stabbing
Like a
with
rhino.
spears and shooting with bows.
Mm.
Oh yeah, rhino would be fun. You just go straight through the gate as long as you armored up the box on its back.
Excuse me.
It goes through the gate. The box on its back does not.
There's a rhino-shaped hole and a pile of halflings and splintered wood back in the game.
Flawless plan.
That absolutely sounds like something like one of our D&D parties.
Well, our plan for our D&D party of all small characters
Oh yeah.
could absolutely do that.
Oh, I want to do a D&D campaign of all small characters so bad, and they're just an adventuring party called the Short Stacks,
Mhm.
and they just like have to try and
I would totally be down to be a kobold.
just have to try and save the world as it's like literally. I love epic fantasy shrunk down so much.
Mhm.
So just the idea of like, yeah, it's the same thing as like the door being thrown open and the camera like pans left and right, doesn't see anybody, and it has to pan down.
And it's all of them standing there heroically.
The door,
drunk in sun.
the door to the drug den gets kicked in, and all the thieves turn and draw knives and look at the door. Don't see anybody. It's like, down here.
Oh.
Crack the leaves. Anyway,
Anyhow,
you guys have paid somebody to take your horses.
you're welcome for the money and the horses, guys.
Yeah.
Whenever we inevitably start our gladiator.
I feel like
Well,
we
they get us
just
out
lost.
there. We're not starting that. We're just dead.
Yeah.
They got our horses
Let's
and
go.
our money. I feel like we just lost.
No.
No,
We got to put our horses somewhere while we go potentially die.
It was like a reverse robbery.
These are yours.
A bunch of heavily armed people came out of nowhere, approached some farmers, and gave them all their shit.
Give them a
Take
bunch
our
of
money
money
and our
and
horses.
beasts of burden. Let's just scout the wall. Try and get a good idea of when there's a gap somewhere where there's like a ladder to
Yeah.
get up, and
Okay, give me a perception check.
roll me potato salad.
You
Ah,
say show
Ah.
me down.
I said roll me potato salad. I have rolled the same as what I did last time,
I have
which is
rolled-
a 2 plus 3.
I have rolled one better, a 6.
17.
Okay, some things just never change.
Did you brew this right? I think I'm going blind.
Of course I brewed it right. I'm a master brewer.
You guys stop drinking before scouting missions? It's getting really hard.
Scouting missions are boring and drinking is fun, so it balances out.
I see why you never joined the army like your brother.
Scotty Fission's boring.
Um,
Drinking.
It's not hard for at least you to tell that the farther you get from the gatehouse. Oh,
Do I have disadvantage?
Well, this is during the day.
This-
though.
We're still
you
during
can scout out
the
during the day. It's not hard to tell like the farther you get from the this main fortified gatehouse or any of the kind of camps along the wall. That there's the farther you get from either of those, the more strung out the patrols become.
Okay.
Um,
Makes sense.
So you can very much reach kind of midpoints between any of those where the patrols are the smallest and strung out, and the sentries are strung out the farthest.
Is this wall all stone, mostly stone, wooden stone?
The wall itself is stone.
Wooden stone.
The upper layers of some of the fortifications are timber, but the first few floors are always stone.
For
And
the
the wall
most
itself is
part,
stone.
I'm pretty sure I can just kind of make stairs. It'd be
There
really
are
slow
also just stairs and ladders
to get up.
fairly regularly.
Okay.
Let's just find
Mostly it's ladders.
Let's just
Let's
find a ladder.
ladder somewhere in one of those middle points and wait till we see a patrol kind of go by and get a little distance and then dash for it.
I think that's a good idea.
I don't think they give a shit if people are trying to sneak up north. They're not like, oh God, no! They've escaped
Wait,
into
stop!
the Deathlands.
I don't understand what you're doing. Don't go up there.
Don't go up there. There's crazy dwarves out
The
there.
guard yells, "Stop you!" but with a great deal of concern in his voice for your personal
Yes.
safety.
He looks. Yeah, he wants so bad.
He looks. No, stop. Come back.
No. Yeah, I tried.
He wasn't ready.
Wasn't ready.
Alright, shall we?
Okay, give me, anybody wants to, give me, as night falls, another perception check to spot a good moment to make your move. This will be with disadvantage.
Oh, for Brandon.
Ha! I've improved. A 6.
That's pretty good with disadvantage.
Another one!
We rolled a 1 and a 2, a 2 and a 2, and then a 1 and a 3. No, yes.
Yeah.
With disadvantage of 12.
Wow, we've been day drinking for weeks.
This is the best place to make our crossing. Now we just have to sit down and wait for nightfall. Proceed to just pass alcohol back and
Where
forth
did the wall go?
the rest of the afternoon and then into the night. You choose a moment that you think is a pretty good moment.
Okay.
You guys are all going to have to make stealth checks. The difficulty has been changed by...
Appropriate.
Do we have advantage because it's nighttime?
Sure.
Ah, good. I'll only roll 1 of these then. I'm changing dice. That blue one is not doing good work.
Okay, there we go. That's a good one. That's a 17.
Also 17.
4. It rolled, it landed on a 20, teetered, and then hit a 2. Plus 2 is 4.
What was yours, Brandon?
It's also 17.
Okay.
What is
your plan for getting down the other side of the wall?
Your grappling hook, right?
I don't really want to leave it behind, but that's what it has to be.
This wall is not high enough for a parachute to open. So you would string it out behind you, jump off the wall, and then just hit the ground.
We can move the ladder to guide it with us.
I mean, I was thinking like 30 feet. You just grab the other side, lower yourself down as long as your arms go, and let go. And your ankles don't snap.
Drop like 23 feet.
I am 4 foot
this
2.
off the ladder, pulling the ladder up, lowering it down, and then climbing down.
I mean, is the ladder affixed?
No, they would be wooden ladders.
And we can
That's the plan.
and we can take you with us.
Take it with us so we can hop back over later. I'll be the last one up the ladder because I'll be the strongest one to boost it up.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get the ladder up and you get it moved over. But as they're kind of scamper down the ladder, and as you're getting ready to go down the ladder, you you will absolutely just hear a shout of alarm because all they see is a ladder on the outside of the wall.
Oh no!
And a shadowy figure standing at the top of it. The point of the why are they breaking into the Deathlands is kind of past. They're like, oh no, people breaking out of the Deathlands. So there will be a shout of alarm from surprisingly close by. For kind of how strung out these patrols are, and you guys are on the ground if you are currently at the top of the ladder.
I would like to pop over onto the ladder and do the slide down the ladder thing.
Acrobatics or athletics?
One would be much cooler.
I know it would.
But which one makes more sense?
Let's do acrobatics because you described it stylishly.
I am trying to be stylish. Let's see if I can roll above a 2. Above a 3. I rolled 1 3 so far. 13
Yay!
plus 2. 15.
Okay. It looks pretty stylish.
And then I am teetering it and I'm catching it as it goes and running with it.
Running off the door.
You're stealing the whole ass ladder.
Hell yeah!
We gotta get back! I was kind of faintly that you guys would just run off with their ladder.
I'm not leaving it there, then they can climb down after us. They've got to go around to a gatehouse now.
Once they realize that it's their ladder, they just seem really quite confused.
Thanks for the ladder, idiots.
Because if somebody had been trying to break in and then it just escaped and run away with their own ladder, it would make sense. But you just stole their ladder from inside the wall, and it's clearly
also
not.
And 6'2",
Yes.
running off into the land of the
Yes,
dwarves.
yeah, so they get in the moonlight. They get the glimmer of moonlight off of polished bronze armor as a giant Spartan warrior runs away into the darkness of the land of the dwarves.
No one believes
ladder.
that. No one believes that.
Here's the fate of Apu as he disappears.
I'm telling you, it was a giant dog and an elf in shining bronze armor. They
With
ran
a
away
dwarf.
with our ladder.
And he was with the dwarf. I'm assuming they were in cahoots.
Yeah, sure. Just tell us where the fucking ladder is, man. Come on.
No more day drinking.
Events. You might have just landed a guard in the stocks with that. Like,
He's gonna it never happened. He's gonna be like, "Where's the ladder?" I don't know.
And then when we come back and we set the ladder back on the right side and leave.
We'll go to the same midpoint and leave it in the same spot. And we'll come back and no.
Captain, they've snuck back in. I know it because the ladder's back where it's supposed to be.
The train
Yeah,
duty.
Train duty for Julius. I'm marching on Rome tomorrow.
We're telling the story backwards. This is what started it all.
My jaw hurts.
Congratulations, it's the middle of the night. Gorgeous moonlit night. A little cool, but it's not raining. And you guys are in the forested land of the dwarves with the Curian soldier's ladder.
I want to just,
bury this?
I'm just going to tuck it into some brush near the forest line.
Yeah.
Hope that we stumble upon it on our way back.
Yeah.
Trying to get kind of the bearings of okay, triangulate by
Roll me a
this.
survival check.
Yeah, okay.
Can I?
14.
Are you trying to memorize where the ladder is?
Sure, why not?
Because if you don't care, then no, you can't roll. But if you're trying to memorize
I'll try
it,
to memorize it for when we're coming back. Let's see.
This is much better.
That is a 24.
24, okay.
Mine is 10 less than that.
You're reasonably confident you can find this ladder again.
Cool. Now onward to the north.
After you, where are we going?
Well, going to the last known location of my clan.
Okay.
So,
Sorry.
probably...
Is your clan, is it a respected one? Are you...
Are they
Probably not.
disrespected?
They're probably not respected so much now, but they were once an honorable clan. Until the new chief took over. So
That sounds promising.
So this new chief, what was his name? We learned it.
we learned
talked
it.
to-
Hang on.
You have no reason to have remembered it.
You can't even get through her name without getting mad. That's very funny.
Gailtram.
Gailtram.
The black hair.
Old black hair boy. You and him not on the best of terms, I gather.
No. He's the reason for my exile, pretty much. He does not
First
look...
time we heard exile.
Strong word.
Let's just say he's not a fan of those who are blessed by the gods. Especially our gods.
Would have liked to have known that before attempting this journey, but okay.
Well,
You should be fine, because they'll just think you're insane.
That's actually no
both
different.
of you are blessed by the gods, and apparently I've got some blood of one of them in my family tree, so I don't think he'll like us. But, and he's when you say is he like chieftain or is he like chieftain?
He's like the main chief.
He's war chief of your clan.
Okay.
That's part of just the thing culturally with the dwarves is that they have no king. There is no true kingdom. They don't even really for the most part build villages. They're or at least no not a lot of stone structures and stuff like that. They are great craftsmen and metalworkers in particular.
So he's a chief among several other chiefs from
Yes.
different tribes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And you guys have kind of heard. You just know this, and you guys heard some of it from Babrula that a lot of people in Warland in particular, kind of the southern half of this island, are Gailtram's kind of becoming a boogeyman to them. His name is really making its way around the islands, and the rumor is that he's working on uniting all of the clans of the dwarves into one massive army to push the Curians out.
Problem is you would never get all clans.
In what context? Say, like a boogeyman, like in a bad way, like do whatever to.
No,
do
usually
whatever
when
he
people
needs to
say he's a
do.
boogeyman, he's like
It's a
really
good
chill,
thing.
nice,
Yeah.
chill.
He smokes some spliffs every now and then, like
like
They mean boogeyman like guy you'd invite to your barbecue boogeyman, you
Yeah.
know?
the dance club guy.
Roscoe Maldonado, party guy.
Leave it where it lies.
He's just a man who likes to boogie. He's a boogie.
Roman
man.
Stalucci.
Roman?
It's Stalucci.
More like an evil, like an
Like-
evil leader
Yeah,
context.
yes, kind.
Not even well. Like the Romans certainly don't like him, but like a lot of the dwarven agents causing trouble, a lot of the halfling agents causing trouble, like a lot of the attacks and stuff is like, like are claimed like, they're claiming to be acting on Gailtram's orders. Like his name is being thrown around a lot, whether or not all that much of it's actually his doing. Like some people don't even think he exists. It's just like, they made him up just to like try and scare all the Curians.
Right.
Um,
But as mentioned, they'll never be able to reunite all the clans because some clans in particular aren't overly fond of him.
Well, I think a united dwarven army sounds like a very good thing. Maybe we could find a way to achieve that, cutting him out of it.
It'd be worth trying. It'd be worth checking out.
he says, drawing a knife.
Yeah.
All we have to do is cut him out of the picture. All
Maybe
right,
we make
well,
Wolf king of the dwarves. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Very. Okay, question. One of these names you have on here, the Seer.
Mhm.
What, do I know of her already, or is it like?
I mean, you probably haven't met that clan chief, but you would know of them.
I swear to God.
Okay.
If it is a little dwarf with a red blindfold,
Dwarf Beverly sounds awesome.
I will run her through.
You can try.
And I will die trying.
Yeah, I was gonna say you better have a backup character in mind.
I would say for now, let's make a camp and start
Get a night's sleep.
get night's sleep and head out by daybreak.
And you don't really know the current state of politics, apart from
What I've heard.
apart from what you've heard and like what you remember from before you left. That's like you don't really know how a lot of that like where any of that stands currently. You've just
Okay.
been away too long.
Cool. So, I guess at first light we make way for the last known location of the Oak Shield.
Oak Wall Clan.
Oak Wall Clan.
They don't actually build oak walls. It is entirely because they use oak shields,
Yes.
which are heavy. Most shields are not made of oak.
Yeah.
Use like poplar, I think. It's like shields, medieval shields, essentially disposable. Use it for a battle. It saves your life a time or two. You get rid of it and get a new one. Because if you made it hard enough to be reusable, it would be too heavy
To
be
use.
usable.
Yep.
But anyway, that's what
It can't be both reusable and usable.
in most circumstances that is true.
Yes.
Okay, it will. It's going to take you guys close to a week on foot to get there, and I'm going to ask you for 2 survival checks.
Okay.
1 to find the location, and 1 to just like navigate there efficiently.
I'm gonna use this die.
All or
He's the only one who's been here before.
So that's a 13 for the first one.
Okay, you've got a pretty good idea of the area that it's in. At least you're pretty sure once you get to the general area,
Yeah.
you'll be able to find it.
13 for the first one, and a 10 for the second.
Okay, so it is going to be closer to that, like closer to a week as far as travel time goes. Occasionally, you guys run into patches of marshland. Occasionally, it's just like really rocky terrain or rivers that you have to navigate around that make it more difficult. And the woods here are extremely thick, and it's quite obvious to all of you as you guys are traveling, because they make no real attempt to be hidden, that you are occasionally being shadowed by groups of Gailtani dwarven hunters. it never seems to be like the same group, and you'll just kind of like they'll kind of follow you for half a day or a day before like one group vanishes, and then a day later you'll see another one or see scouts. But you're not going to just be like
Lost.
Yeah.
Stomping around on the ball.
and they won't and they don't approach, but they seem to be keeping tabs.
Well, obviously they're making sure we're on the up and up. And
We are a pretty odd bunch to be around here.
yeah, you two especially.
No, so we are an odd duo to be around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm afraid we'll just keep straight forward. Like, can't really do anything about the packs following us.
So you will, at close to the end of this week, you will sort of return to the valley where you remember your clan being encamped when you left.
Mm-hmm.
And they do seem to still be here. This is one of their kind of regular, or like fairly regular spots. You caught them in the right season.
Yeah.
And it's also quite obvious to you as, like, because you guys can see, like, smoke from quite a few fires and, like, kind of semi-permanent structures, huts and a lot of buildings and stuff as you guys are kind of coming down to this valley, which seems to it's definitely not civilized, but there are a lot more dwarves here. You see people fishing quite often, you see hunters a lot more often, some people kind of farming and gathering and stuff like that. You will notice very quickly that there is currently not one clan camped here, but two. There's both,
Would I know the other clan?
the other one you would recognize as Braided Hair. So there's both Oakwall and Braided Hair clans here currently.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Clan's gotten much bigger since I last left. And, hope that's not going to mean more trouble for us as we enter.
Is this other clan one that was friendly to your clan before?
Yeah, in a way. Allies.
Might be allies now, and they might be uniting underneath old
Gailtram.
black hair.
Blackbeard.
Oh, Captain Blackbeard, uniting the dwarves.
Yeah. Man, history's wild.
History's insane.
One of the dumbest sentences I've ever uttered.
Blackbeard uniting the dwarves to march on Rome?
Alright, I guess let's head down towards the clan.
Okay. You are obviously like, you will begin to see a lot of people you recognize. Some of whom are obviously like, the fuck's that guy doing here? And some are kind of like, oh hey, long time no see.
Yeah.
Feels like years.
It has been years.
And as well as like people looking at both of you with equal mixes of like you is just like it's just it's like, what in the fuck? Like, I mean, his skin is bronzed and as shiny as the polished bronze.
He's a different color!
It smells like incense.
Whatever that is.
I used a small amount of the oils. This is a big day. You gotta make a good impression.
No wonder we were easy to track.
Do you smell that?
Fine brandy from Dublin.
And like they don't. They seem like you, like both of you are really like, they've never seen anyone like either one of you, and you guys are gathering a lot of attention. But in both of your cases, it's like it's some amount of like suspicion, but also some amount of awe because both of you guys are like well over 6'5", right?
Mm-hmm. I'm 6'2", and you're 6'6". Yep. With your
You
ears.
have at least a foot on most of the people here, closer to 2 feet for a lot of them.
Got golden Do I see anybody else that has tattoos?
Almost everyone
Yes.
here has sometimes copious amounts of tattoos,
Yes.
especially like arms, chest, and face is like really quite common. The patterns seem to be relatively, or at least somewhat distinct between clans. Like you kind of quickly pick up, like, okay, it seems like these people are all Oakwall clan because their tattoos are kind of a beast style. And these people are probably all braided hair clan because their tattoos are stylistically.
Maybe they won't hate me after all.
Well, they just there seems to be in particular because your tattoos are gold.
Uh-huh.
So not only is it like it's a fucking giant black like wolf covered in golden markings.
We look fucking great.
We think we look amazing. Like, look at these goofballs walking all around.
But so you guys will gather like a lot of attention, enough so that it doesn't take all that long before there seems to be a procession of some kind of approaching through camp.
I'm kind of like, all right, I guess we might as well just wait this one out. Let them come to us.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Is this gonna be a fight, Wolf?
Sure, hope not.
So
A lot of dwarves here.
there are a lot of dwarves here. Quite a few of the ones that approach are armed, though almost no one here is truly armored. The two in front in particular, one of whom has Oakwall tattoos and one of whom has braided hair tattoos. The one with the client braided hair tattoos is a much older dwarf. He still seems strong, but he's quite a bit older. You would recognize this as Dungale of the Stone Knife, the leader of Braided Hair Clan. And the other, younger, much more jacked, like, barbarian build dwarf with just, like, truly magnificent, like, long, braided black hair and beard, you would recognize as Gailtram. And he looks like, just as, like, physically fit as imposing as he ever did. Like,
yeah.
He you would know in particular, like, this guy's a fighter. Like, the way he's built is this is a warrior.
I lean over to Tiresias. If anything goes down, that's your guy.
Thanks.
If anything happens here, I'm gonna try and get you two married. Sneak over the whole thing.
I can help.
I mean, I'm Greek.
It'll all work out.
It'll all work out in the end.
Yeah.
That is terrifying.
It will bring.
Oh god, the spawn of
It will bring two warrior cultures together
Mhm.
in a truly terrifying way, as those two cultures combine into just like not necessarily abomination, but just like the specialist soldiers that is going to like when those two cultures get together and start training. Oof.
They're all gonna be so buff.
it's gonna look like a bodybuilding competition. On the beach.
Kind of intimidated to see him.
Fight on! Fight on!
All
Fight
of the children are gonna be born ready.
Respectable muscles. Alright.
And he
This is your clan, man.
Yeah.
We're
Like
just here for muscle.
I mean, he kind of steps forward, and the he looks amused and confused by you two. He looks. It's kind of hard to tell what he's thinking. Like when he's looking at you, it's like it seems to almost be like disappointment, but like also just kind of like resignation. Like we all probably knew this day was coming, kind of.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like, he kind of steps, like ahead of kind of the rest of the group of dwarves, and just kind of like looks you up and down once, and sees that you haven't changed a bit.
Yeah.
And just kind of quietly just says, "Wolf."
Gailtram.
It's been a long time.
How many years have I been gone?
Probably just a couple, but a lot has happened for both of you in those couple of years.
Yep, it has. Seems things are still at a standstill here.
They've improved. I expect you wouldn't be here without good reason.
Let's just say, upon my travels, I met with the. What would you even call? Like, was she a seer, witch, kind of?
An oracle.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's a word you would use here. A seer would probably be more accurate for...
I encountered a seer who made mention that it was time to come back.
Well, I won't pretend that you're welcome. But if the gods drove you back here, I won't throw you out until we've got to the bottom of it.
Well, I'll take anything I can get at this point. Wasn't expecting a warm welcome upon my return.
Well, in other days it might have been warmer. You, of course, remember Dungale?
I kind of nod towards him.
The Braided Air Clan has already joined with us.
Are you guys speaking in Dwarvish?
Probably.
Yeah.
Cool.
I got.
She's like, how's it going? Sounds like it's going okay.
He looks pissed. He always looks pissed. Pissed drunk or pissed angry. It's hard to
both,
tell.
Clans Fair Eye and Forestborn have agreed to join with us as well. They're gathering what they can and coming with us, though even with them we don't have enough to push the Curians out.
Forestborn, okay. Any news from White Raven?
He kind of looks at Dungale, and Dungale kind of like shrugs and says that and he's got you guys notice is that he's got a much deeper, rumblier voice than the other dwarf. You still can't tell what he said. What Dungale says is that White Raven is one of the 4 that's refused, at least for now, to join under Gailtram. White Raven won't join because, you would know that they're largely kind of a clan of, druids and shamans. At least they have a lot more of that kind of just in their clan blood. And they have a sacred
Mowage.
White Raven.
Mowage.
They have a
Mowage between Posius and Gailtram.
is what brings us together.
Blood. So much blood.
Will follow you.
Tertius looking over to Dungale. I'm going to be killing myself. Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
You've always been so nice to me. So I'll be killing myself in the morning.
That's nice.
Classic.
She kissed me. She kissed me.
Anyway.
Yeah, you know that Clan White Raven has a sacred White Raven, supposedly either an incarnation of or sort of a messenger from Morrigan. And that, essentially the White Raven hasn't given them the okay to join the war effort. So far they won't.
They're waiting on word from a bird.
Because the bird is the word. I don't even need... Okay, so... I don't even need to ask about Long Axe. It's pretty straightforward. What about the other 2?
Well, Stormhand we're not sure about. They've refused to join, and Irad the Left-Handed's been quite outspoken against the whole idea. Wardog won't join because they're extremely traditionalist and they don't trust Gailtram to not give up his powers when the war is over. When Gailtram's kind of despite any and all promises I can give them, I have no intention of becoming a king. That's not our way.
Okay. Kind of lean over. For good reason. Come back.
They're it seems I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, you've had this guy turn over and then in comment say, for good reason, and then go back to speaking Dwarvish, maybe I'll just do the John Travolta.
I see you guys doing that, and I toss you the alchemy jug. It's full of beer. Just go drink.
I've
I'll
had
ask-
enough of your brew.
I'll ask
for a
between-
No, it's the alchemy joke, so it's
Uh,
actual.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't need any more alcohol in general.
But like between
Maybe I'll roll
sentences
better
for
if I
you
stop.
guys, ask, would a peace offering help? If so, I have that extra bottle of fancy brandy. Maybe you can offer up.
We'll get there. Well, can't say I'm necessarily.
Are all
Excited
dwarves
to be-
alcoholics? Is that a thing?
Yes.
All right.
I'm not necessarily.
All elves are connoisseurs of wine.
It's alcoholic, but you can pretend like it's a fancy holiday.
Yeah. I'll kind of look at Gailtram and be like, well, can't say I'm not feeling the same way as the other 4 clans, but given the gods beckoned me back, figured I'd lend my assistance. My companions here are also quite capable.
Just gesture at us.
I don't know. I'm just, as long as I'm not getting stabbed, I'm just watching what happens.
You should introduce your friends, Wolf. Looking at the 2 giant people
So,
standing next to
the one standing in bronze armor is
Is this in common or is this in Dwarven still?
still dwarven, but
Okay.
but your names will
Yeah.
you'll hear your names.
Just
This is Tertius. What's your last name?
praxis.
Tertius Praxis. And this over here is Azim.
He's certainly built like a warrior, and he must be strong to carry that amount of metal around on him.
He is.
And, this one has stinks of the gods, almost like you do.
I'd say his gods are a little bit more.
Stinky.
A little not stinky. They're stinky.
He has some stinks of the gods too. His gods smell much worse.
His gods are a bit more interesting in his lands. Let's say that much.
Well, neither one of them can have come from anywhere nearby to us.
Of course. And I obviously was nowhere near home when I encountered them. If you want to offer your fine brandy,
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna offer up that fancy brandy.
I'll
speak Dwarvish.
as
Peace
he
offering.
as he puts it forward, be like alcohol from his lands as a peace offering.
Quite good.
Well,
You may have broken the terms of your exile, but I don't see much reason for the laws of hospitality to go broken as well, so...
If you just want to kick him out, it's fine.
No, you took instead.
I'm down to drink with some dwarves, even if he doesn't get to hang.
They'll invite you all into camp, so you can essentially to sit down and talk in greater depth of like your travels, what this seer told you.
I forget. Do they speak
amongst
common?
the dwarves. Some would.
Okay.
A lot of people there just speak Dwarvish. Some would speak common.
I'll kind of ask. Would it be possible to get a translator for my comrades to speak in common, so they can be part of the conversation?
Of course, and we can. Some of us speak common, at least somewhat. We can speak that if it makes it easier.
Besides common, none of us all speak.
I speak
Another-
Elven and common.
I speak common, Dwarvish, and
The language of the Leonin, the North,
Leonin.
That's
essentially
cool.
North African,
I speak common, Nethethan, which is the Kenra, Elvish, and Tabaxi.
No, so we can talk Elvish to each other.
Yep.
Talk Elvish to me.
you speak all of the most common languages in the Tabaxi Empire.
On purpose. Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
What were the odds you were going to end up in Dwarvish lands?
Slim to none, you'd think.
Alright. So yeah, let's, I guess, follow him in.
Okay.
Talk
Go
it
to
crazy.
the peace pipe
You
tent.
can, you can sit down. It's essentially in a longhouse. You can all sit down around a big roaring fire.
I'll put the alchemy jug on the table and be like, brews, beers, 4 gallons of it.
Even though it's like a little.
Yeah. Now that's worthwhile magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, you can essentially get caught up on a lot of local politics, which is like essentially a lot of what you just heard. And you guys would kind of hear all that as well. That like of the 8 like dwarven clans, 3 have agreed to join Gailtram's army, like essentially under his leadership, to try and push the Curians out of this island for good. And 4 have refused. And even with the 4, that's a significant army. It's probably already one of the largest single armies the dwarves have ever raised, because the clans tend. It's not that they don't get along, but they really firmly believe in no kings and no conquerors. So it's hard to unite under one person. And of the other 4 that have refused to join, War Dog refuses to join because they hold very strongly to that ideal of no kings and no conquerors, and they don't trust Gailtram to give up his powers when the war is over. White Raven will not join unless their White Raven gives them permission to do so, which apparently has not happened. Nobody, at least when the dwarves are all kind of talking to each other, at least the clan chiefs and stuff won't necessarily mention it, but Longaxe just straight up refuses to join because of some sort of personal hatred between their clan chief and Gailtram. Some sort of old history there. And Stronghand just for some reason refuses to join. Nobody's really sure why.
How do we convince them to join? Is that what you... I'm going to... You don't speak Elvish. Shit. I'm going to... So is our goal here mostly talking to you, but seeming like I'm talking to everybody. Our goal here is to unite all of these clans as one army.
Yes. And maybe I'm not talking to them. I'm I kind of lean over and be like, and if with any luck, you can have your army to raise to get back your land. And I'll kind of lean back again.
And both Gailtram and Dungale are fairly they think, depending on how sort of what the battle plan is, how prepared the Curians are, how favorable conditions are when they decide to strike, they could probably do without any one clan. Although obviously having all of them is partially desirable just because it makes the politics afterwards a lot easier. Because
it's easier to divvy up land.
And a lot of the land is just going to go back to the halfling clans and tribes who whose home who somebody showed up and said, we live here now. But they're worried that if Longaxe doesn't join the fight, that and they've tried to make that clear to them that that will be a serious stain on their honor, and that in the years after, if they can push the Curians out, that's not something descendants are going to forget or forgive necessarily very easily, and that could cause a lot of political trouble in the future.
What's this bad blood with the Longaxes?
Would I know the details?
You would know. You've been part of this tribe.
Tertius, not knowing if he's going to strike a nerve or not, just bluntly asks.
Gailtram does kind of sigh, it's gonna sigh, roll his eyes and just shake his head, there they go, bringing up this thing again. Dungale kind of, the other clan chief will kind of motion to you if you want to explain.
Gailtram is solely responsible for the murder of Longaxe's, the war chief of Longaxe. He killed his 2 sons.
Neither one was a murder. One was in battle and one was in a duel.
They were both honorable fights, but given how the events played out, bad blood.
Said one was a duel and one was what?
In battle.
One would assume that given it was honorable death, it wouldn't be much of a difference, but
dead sons are dead sons, though.
Yes. So,
well, maybe uniting with these other clans, if Longaxes are the only ones not joining, that might kind of strong arm them into it.
maybe. Might be something where. Well, okay. Kind of remind me, what was the exact context that what's her name was telling me when we first saw her?
What do you mean?
Or like not the context. Was the gist of like what she told me was just to come back to reunite the clans, or
the gist of what she told you was that, like, for better or worse, a lot of people think Gailtram is the only dwarf who might be able to actually unite all the dwarves under one banner, and they might be right. Just that, like, I guess to some degree, you have some personal shit that needs ironing out, as far as just, like, just sort of, like, not necessarily just, like, wandering aimlessly, but it's like you're not necessarily, like, fulfilling the wishes of your god, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, one of the main things she mentioned is that, like, Gailtram may well be
the one to lead,
the one who can actually do it. Like, the Curians may not believe that, or at least a lot of them may not, and a lot of the dwarves may not believe that.
Yeah.
But that might be the case.
I'm going to suggest that in the stead of Gailtram and Dungale, that us three go be representatives, not of Gailtram, but for us to unite and drive out the Curians.
You can certainly talk to them all. At least would be interesting to know why Stronghand is refusing to join with us. Don't know if you'll have much luck with Longaxe, and unless you want to sit around and wait for a bird to talk, you may not have all that much luck with White Raven. But,
No.
And of course I can't let you just make deals in my name. But if you can sway them in any way or get them to see that this ultimately is the best thing for all of us, I certainly wouldn't turn that down.
God, my persuasion is going to be so goddamn awful. But it's worth a shot. I guess that's the best course of action, is just to see if we can get the clans to join. White Raven might be willing to join us, given that I was given information by a god that we need to unite under a banner. The other three might be a tall ask or tough order.
That could be a good place to start, though. Go to the clan that has divine ties and come on a divine
and also
mission.
two members who are literally in communes with the gods. Like, granted, your gods are different, but
Who knows what they'll think of my gods?
yeah.
It's weird that we have different gods and we, for the most part, align on a lot of things.
Right?
I'm telling you, there's... We don't need to start this theological conversation here. However, since you brought it up,
Tertius.
what can you tell me about your death god? Is it a dog? How many heads does it have?
Oh, it's not a dog.
Dog-like?
I mean,
our gods are not necessarily like dogs, like Azims.
a lot of people might... people might consider any god of death to be predatory, I suppose, but it's a strange question that you ask, my friend.
I'll explain. I'll explain to him that his god of death is literally a dog. Like,
And my
No,
god
he's
of
a
death...
me.
or
He's a
he-
dog
My
person.
god of death owns a dog.
And my god of death has a pet dog with 3 heads who defends the underworld.
Hmm. Why does the underworld need defending? Who would wish to attack it?
Someone trying to retrieve a soul from the underworld?
Isn't your underworld filled with great warriors? Couldn't they defend it themselves?
Well, it's filled with lots of things, lots of people, some of which are great warriors.
Good and bad, stopping people from getting in and out.
It's one of those lines that people shouldn't cross. Unless it's their turn to. So I'm told. I don't know. You guys do
So-
right.
So I'll just ask for information on last known locations of clans and
Yeah, they can totally send you with a scout who can take you straight to the White Raven.
all right.
Let's go talk to them.
Let's go talk to White Rape.
And in more quiet conversation afterwards, like, maybe we can do some magical fuckery to trick him into thinking the bird's telling him to do something.
You guys will be given, like, you can stay in the camp for the night and stuff.
Okay.
Like, and apart from that, like, you're welcome to just eat and drink late into the night as well.
I absolutely want to go out and party with the dwarves.
Tell stories of distant battles and
I'll stay as well. Eat and drink. Tell stories of how I saved you two from Draugrs, pretty much.
I'll tell stories about how he was naked in a box and we pried him out of it.
For a second, I thought you were pointing at a zine, and I was like, "At what point was a zine naked in a box?" I really don't remember that part. Of
We had a
this
really wild night. No, I'm cool.
We talk about the gladiatorial games where me and him fought.
Yeah. Where you cracked me in the jaw, I barely won.
They the dwarves do. It is kind of the classic. Just like, you seem pretty strong. Just like, mom wrestle.
Bring it on!
Just this immediate like, he is pretty strong. But I mean, it's not just all glamour muscle.
It's not all glamour.
He's actually
There's some
just really
practical
strong.
muscle.
The
There's a lot of glamour, don't get me wrong.
The biggest story we tell is how we got a town to fight back after we destroyed
We talk about freeing the East and ending a war.
Any stories that you tell about, like, fucking up Curian shit, they're just like all about. But it does turn immediately into tactical discussions of like you must have come across the wall, like, we've been scouting it, like, here's what we've seen, here's the numbers we've seen, here's what our spies can tell us, what have you seen, like when you fought the Curians other places, like, how would they respond to something like that? Like, it immediately is just it starts off like telling grand stories and immediately just derails into, like, battle tactics.
kind of winged it most of the time.
If you need a ladder. I mean, I am not a very intelligent person, and so my tactical conversation is not super in-depth. But it would be like, what we noticed is that the further away you get from a watchtower or a gatehouse, the less people there are on the wall. Their side of the wall is very easy to get up. Our side of the wall here is the only side that really is defended or has defenses to stop it. They can't see at night, so that's helpful.
But also, we have our companion here can't see at night.
Even though he's a dog, I know it's weird. I think they angered their gods or something, and they took it from their eyeballs.
Yeah.
I don't even understand it. It's whatever. It's probably a genetic thing.
It's just his family in particular.
Yeah.
Arabesca, the Egyptian goddess of balance, determined that it would be unbalanced for me to have dark vision,
That bitch.
along with my other racial features.
Yeah.
As a child, out of the womb, I couldn't see in the dark, but I could swing a sword. That's
Jeremias Crawfordia.
You know what?
And Christophus Perkinians. The great philosopher.
Well, now you're just naming scientific names for plants. Guzzy was here, he could tell you what plants those were. I think that's a decent place to stop this episode. You guys have a little bit of direction.
Mm-hmm.
A homecoming of sorts.
Yes.
Which one were we heading to first?
White
White
Raven.
Raven. Use your magic to trick them.
The druids.
Trick the druids. You don't have to kill the druids or drive them out. Just trick them.
I have a lot of shadow shit.
Or maybe the bird will just be like, they're here, let's roll, boys. But
Well, fucking finally, when we all show up, come on, get your swords, we're going to war.
Come on, boys, get your arms. We got shit to fuck up.
Let's go.
Man, we really are.
Leaving
busy.
a really confused clan of dwarves marches off to war.
Hi ho. Hi ho. Off to war we go.
Hey, we might owe people money for that.
Hey,
Well,
we only
if,
sang 5 seconds. It's fine.
If you enjoyed these types of shenanigans, we have lots of other content on the channel that is very similar in its level of shenaniganery. Another D&D campaign currently running, a little bit larger play group taking place in and around the Underdark, which has been a lot of fun. And the last episode we recorded was...
It was a killer episode.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch. How dare you?
As well as Star Wars campaign and Savage Worlds. It was all kind of all sorts of stuff, both D&D and lots of just other tabletop RPG content and storytelling stuff. It's just this is what we enjoy doing. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.